Well, hello, greetings, music lovers. You are listening to the Riverboat Shuffle on 88.1 KDHX, recorded in front of a live studio audience right here in St. Louis, Missouri. I am your host, TJ Muller. Well, we have a great show lined up for you this week with some truly wonderful guests, including the St. Louis Steady Grinders, the Rum Drum Ramblers, Scott Alberici, and Andy Shum. And of course, we have for your listening pleasure the Riverboat Shuffle house band led by Marty Eggers on the piano, Joey Glynn on the string bass, and Del Robles on the drum sets. To start off the show, whilst Andy is warming up his fingers for his piano sets, I think we're going to have Marty and the house band start us off in the usual fashion with the cookies well and truly on the lower shelf with some ragtime music. Marty, would you play for us the Harlem Rag by Tom Turpin? That would be wonderful.
Sure thing.
Marty Eggers there of the Riverboat Shuffle house band playing the Harlem Rag, written by Tom Turpin there, the first piece of ragtime music published by an African American. And of course, Tom Turpin was the father of St. Louis ragtime. One more time for the Riverboat Shuffle house band as they clear the stage. Well, I'm thrilled now to bring on our first guest of today's program. I'm absolutely delighted he can make it down to St. Louis, and I know that you're just going to love him. Please give a round of applause for the wonderful Andy Shum from Chicago. Andy Shum is a multi-instrumentalist, and even just in the course of today's program, you'll see him playing at least 3 instruments. But he can play just about anything on the bandstand. Not violin. I think that's the only thing I haven't seen you play, at least.
Not trombone either.
You can play trombone.
I'm too smart for that.
Well, we'll chat with Andy later, and we'll ask him some questions. We'll put him on the spot. But in the meantime, I would love for you to play some piano for us, Andy. And I believe you're going to start out with the Down and Out Blues.
That's right, written by Arthur Sizemore, Chicago guy. So,
take it away, Andy.
Here we go.
Andy Shum there with the Down and Out Blues by Arthur Sizemore. That's wonderful stuff, Andy.
Thank you.
Arthur Sizemore is a Chicago guy, you said?
Yeah, I found his house. I wanted to go in, but they didn't let me in.
Oh, yeah. Still lived there, did he?
They did, yeah. Right.
Not another one of these nerds. Not going to wait. Oh, it's fantastic. So I think it'd be wonderful if we could have these folks get to know you a bit. Who here has seen Andy perform before?
Hey,
Yeah. You can make noise. Yeah. Yeah, I've seen him. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to sound groveling or sniveling here, but as far as I'm concerned, Andy is one of the finest practitioners of early jazz worldwide right now. It's always such an honor to get to see and work with him. And what I would love to ask you about is, when did you first get the bug, the sickness we call it? Do you have a moment when you first thought this music is something different?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I definitely remember, I think if you play this music, it's in your head somewhere. There's a seed planted, you don't know where that came from. But I had a moment when I went to the Organ Piper Pizza Palace in Wisconsin, and the Dixieland Band playing there, and I walked in at age 16, 20 years ago, and the room turned upside down. Yeah. It was unbelievable. And I thought, I have to do this. And I must have been sitting there with my hands going like, oh, I play it like this. And the trumpet player gave me his horn, and I played When the Saints Come Marching In, and I've played it 10,000 times since.
Amazing.
but that was the night. Yeah.
But you being a musician before this, you as a child, was it piano you started on or cornet?
Yeah, piano was first. Yeah.
Did you tell me one time that your first ever concert was on piano?
Yeah, well, my first gig was on piano for sure. Playing a wedding gig on piano.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I was 12 years old.
Wonderful.
Yeah. My parents were thrilled.
Right. Well, you can tell your parents that you've been on the Riverboat Shuffle live.
I will.
Yeah. Well, I'd love for you to play another piece on
Sure.
piano. What do you have for us next?
I'm going to do Someday Sweetheart, which is recorded by, of course, Jelly Roll Morton and all those great guys, and written by the Spikes brothers.
John
Spikes.
and Reb, yeah.
And but I'm going to do it a little differently. I'm going to play a little more of an impressionistic style on this, kind of in the mode of Bix Beiderbecke.
Wonderful. I'm gonna bend your ear on the impressionistic stuff as well. I want to talk to you about that. But for now, how about a round of applause for Andy with Someday Sweetheart? Andy Shum there, folks, with Someday Sweethearts. Beautiful, Andy. I've never heard it played that way before, but that's a lovely idea to do it like that.
Well, thank you.
Oh, pardon me, I'm all tangled up. So, the style, you described that as impressionistic.
Yeah.
Tell us what you mean by that.
Well, there's the French Impressionist kind of music and art, really, where it's like you get an essence of what the content is, but not exactly an exact representation of that.
Right.
So music had that too, and a lot of the American jazz guys were influenced by that French Impressionism, and it leaked into the jazz too.
Right. Yeah. Because people often have this impression of 1920s music that it's this Looney Tunes, sort of corny.
Well, sometimes it is.
Well, sometimes I guess sometimes it is,
Yeah.
but I guess people often don't realize that it can be so sentimental and beautiful and have such a dynamic range as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Who are some of the pianists, especially that you would consider impressionist pianists? If somebody say wanted to go look them up.
Well, I'd say it's not a jazz thing, but it's the major influence on Bix. And Bix Beiderbecke was Eastwood Lane. You know, he wrote some very beautiful American Impressionist piano music with some elements of what jazz guys used to use in their improvisations.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, a piece to look up is the Adirondack Sketches. That's one of my favorites.
Say that again.
Adirondack Sketches from 1922.
I've got to check that out. That
Yeah,
sounds
it's really
wonderful.
good. Yeah.
Well, at this point, I think we're going to have to pause for some messages, but do stick around for more from Andy Shum on the Riverboat Shuffle Live. Thank you. Well, hello there, folks. You are listening to the Riverboat Shuffle Live on 88.1 KDHX, recorded in front of a live studio audience right here in St. Louis, Missouri. I am your host, TJ Muller. The listeners at home should be aware that there's an applause button, and the booing members of the audience have been kicked out. So, live on the stage with us right now, we have the wonderful Andy Shum, folks. Andy Shum. And before those messages, we were chatting about the Impressionists, and Bix's name came up. We'll come back to. In fact, well, let's talk about it now. I think if you say Andy Shum to a jazz enthusiast in, I don't know, Germany or Australia, I think your name is almost synonymous at this point with Bix. How did that wind up happening?
Well, I'm a cornet player. That's my main instrument, and I just love Bix. It's timeless music, and I just love the records, and I really wanted to be like that. So for years, I just decided, we're gonna play a Louis Armstrong song. We're gonna play Big Man and Eggman. Yeah. It's gonna be Bix tonight. Sorry.
Amazing.
So I just kind of forced it.
Now, does everyone here in the audience know what we're talking about when we say Bix and Bix Beiderbecke? Yeah. Well, as Midwesterners, if one thing tonight you go away knowing who Bix is, I think we'll have done our job, especially with the show being called the Riverboat Shuffle. Bix Beiderbecke was a revolutionary young cornet player, primarily around making music in the 1920s. He grew up in Davenport, Iowa, and he just had this sound, Andy, didn't he? That it seems to me that, like, I know of trumpet players, for example, that I can hear a difference in the way they played after they met Bix.
I think that's totally true. Yeah. There's something interesting about his playing. You said Midwesterners. I had a trumpet teacher in college, and the first day we had a lesson, classical stuff, and he said, "Where are you from?" I said, "I'm from Milwaukee area." And he goes, "You have a German tongue." He says, "I was articulating too hard for the classical music, but I think that regional dialect was imprinted on his music, and as everybody else too. But I think that's kind of the thread that kind of drew me in. It's like a hometown guy."
That's fascinating. When I first came to St. Louis, actually, on the date of this record, marks the actual 9th year that I've been in St. Louis. So it's kind of a special day for me. Yeah, thank you. But when I came here, Andy, I played a job with Miss Jubilee, Valerie, who we'll see later on in the show. And she had a local trumpet player. And he heard me play trumpet and said, you play British. You sound like a Brit. Well, Andy, as we well know, Bix not only was a tremendous cornet player, but he was one of the influential impressionist pianists of the 20s. And I think you have a Bix composition for us next.
Yeah, I'm going to play something that Bix wrote in 1928 called In the Dark. He wrote 4 piano pieces, and he recorded one of them himself. The other 3 he didn't get to in his short life, unfortunately, but this is my favorite, I think. And it's a very moody type thing.
Wonderful. Well, take it away.
There we go. Thank you.
Well, thank you, folks. You're listening to 88.1 KDHX St. Louis. This is the Riverboat Shuffle, and that was Andy Shum playing Bix Beiderbecke's piano composition of 1928.
I think so, yeah.
In the Dark. Beautiful, Andy. So sentimental, and you played it so wonderfully. Now, he never recorded that. Am I correct, or did he?
No, he recorded only In a Mist, you know.
Right. Yeah.
That's the only one he ever recorded. But he did play piano on some band records just for a little bit here and there.
Right. Yeah.
For no reason at all,
in C.
That's
right,
C
yeah.
and Ringing and Twisting. And he played piano on Big Boy and Lazy
That's
Daddy.
right,
But that's it. Just a couple examples.
I came across some recording of Bunny Berrigan doing like a band version of In the Dark at some point.
Yeah, and they made a mistake.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they played a C7 instead of a C major 7.
Oh,
I'll never forgive them.
That's hacks. Well, you know, talking about all the how refined and sensitive 1920s music can be, I also know that, as you were saying from the pizza parlor days, that you've also had your share of just playing good old-fashioned.
I call it Rock'em Sock'em Dixieland.
Right. But there's something to be said for coming up that way. I think I would like treasure my time hanging out at the St. Louis Banjo Club, and lots of the people I learned to play this music from are past now, but just playing in these old-timer Dixieland bands, you learn a lot that way, and there does seem to be some of those Midwestern traditions passed down.
Yeah, well, you learned the music is very vernacular in that scene. It's like there's no problem just playing a song that you've never played but you've heard before.
Right. Yeah.
And also, you learn how to drink beer.
Right. Yeah. That's really the important bit. But you're as a musician, you always strike me as you have such a extensive knowledge of the era that you don't seem to have a hard time putting on different hats. Like if you have to play in the style of, I don't know, the ODJB or Wilbur Sweatman's band, like pre-20s ragtime, you seem to be able to jump. Like if I said play me a song from 1935, I feel like you wouldn't have much trouble.
Yeah.
Like how do you do that as a musician? How do you step into these different roles?
Yeah, well, I've over the years developed a philosophy that music, for me at least, it's more of a craft than an art.
Right.
So I want to do that job as good as I can, and I love the music. I love the era. I love popular song. I like rags. I like blues. I like stomps. I like even some of the light classical music, and there's a thrill you get when you get to, I love records, right? So listen to a record and I go, boy, I wish I could be like that.
Yeah.
And then when you get to play that kind of music and do it right, you get to jump into that role, and that's exciting. That's really what it is. I double on instruments like clarinet and things. I only play clarinet because I wanted to play along with Johnny Dodd's records, and then all of a sudden I'm playing it on gigs. Well, that's just fine, but I really just wanted to play with a record and understand what it felt like to play a blues chorus like that.
I find that there's something incredibly human about being able to get incredibly excited about the music somebody made 100 years ago. It taps you when you feel this, this like excitement when you hear a Johnny Dodds lick.
Yeah.
It's like it's this connection. It's like time traveling or something.
Well, yeah, it's like you play the clarinet, the same instrument he played.
Yeah.
So what did that feel like? What was that like to be in that time? And the other thing I compare it to is on the history side is following, knowing about old jazz and old dance bands. It's kind of like being a fan of defunct baseball teams. It's like, hey, that guy played with this guy, and that, and you'll have to put those connections together.
That's wonderful. Well, do you have another tune for us on the piano here?
Yeah, I got one more for you.
That's great.
I'm going to play Shake It and Break It. And this is my little tribute to Arthur Schutt, my favorite piano player of the 1920s. And if you ever heard him, he's impossible to sound like. But I got a couple of his licks down, so we'll try it.
Let's hear him.
All right, here we go. Thank you.
Well, hello there, folks. You're listening to the Riverboat Shuffle on 88.1 KDHX, recorded in front of a live studio audience. We have Andy Shum here on the piano. You know, one of the reasons I love to hear you playing like this, Andy, is because, I remember when I was back in my touring days, I would go to somewhere like Belgium, and all I wanted to hear was a gypsy jazz band. And then in Scotland, all I wanted to hear was real Scottish folk music. And it's the same thing when I go to Chicago. The first place I have to go is to one of your regular jobs, like the Green Mill or the Honky Tonk, because there's something to me that's so exciting and enriching about regional music. And I know that although you're from Wisconsin, representing regional Chicago music is something that's very important to you.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I learned how to play a lot of this old style stuff from guys who are, sadly now a lot of them are gone, but Chicago guys who learned from Louis Armstrong and from Baby Dodds, and there's a direct connection, and I always wanted to be part of that. So that's where I gravitated towards when I moved to Chicago, and one of the reasons I went there.
It must be almost like spiritual to know that you're playing in it. Well, like the Green Mill.
Yeah.
There's this amazing venue, folks, in Chicago called the Green Mill, and it was owned by Al Capone at some point. Is that correct? And
Well, in Chicago, I always say that that McDonald's at the corner of Wilson and Western, that's Al Capone's favorite McDonald's. But yeah, there was definitely a mob connection for sure.
Yeah. But you know that Bud Freeman and these guys would play there, and knowing that you're playing the same music in the same tradition. I mean, to me, it's almost like a folk music tradition where the where matters as well as the when and the how.
Yeah.
But the physical places that you play seem to.
And something that goes along with that is, as these older folks quit playing or retired or they unfortunately pass on, that weight of that history kind of weighs on you a little bit. So it's important to treat it seriously and try to get the word out, just like you're doing right here right now.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Well, I would love to bring on the Riverboat Shuffle House Band at this point. And speaking of regional Chicago music here, when I think of Chicago jazz, my mind sort of always jumps to a clarinet player called Frank Teschemacher, and I've never heard anyone that can do a better tesh than Andy here. So, yeah, it requires a couple of drinks. So Andy, will you? I hope you don't mind me. I'm going to spoil it in banjo. I'm going to do a bad Eddie Condon impression here, and maybe we'll swing out in Indiana.
That sounds good.
Okay, give me a second here, folks. Yeah, right.
F right on it. Stop it, Alice. Ready? Here we go. One.
Well, hello there, folks. You are listening to the Riverboat Shuffle on 88.1 KDHX, recorded in front of a live studio audience right here in St. Louis, Missouri. I am your host, TJ Muller. Now, we were just enjoying the wonderful music of Andy Shum. One more time for Andy Shum, please. How about that? Now, coming up later on, we'll also be listening to one of St. Louis's finest clarinetists, Scott Alberici, one of my favorite contemporary blues duos, the St. Louis Steady Grinders. But right now on stage, we have St. Louis's own the Rum Drum Ramblers. The Rum Drum Ramblers. Matt, we'll talk in a bit, but what are you going to start off with?
We're going to start with an original tune called Meditate on That.
Very good. Take it away.
1, 2, 3. Sometimes, boys, I up and get mad. And I like it much better when I'm feeling proud and glad. But you know the bed that I've been looking up and down from my sin. I'm mighty with you, baby, and I'll have you meditate on that. Meditate on that. Meditate on that. And I forget to take the time out from worrying about this and that. But you know the bed that I've been looking up and down from my sin. Mighty with you, baby, and I'll have you meditate on it. Sounds like this, boys. Yes, I can close my eyes. Yes, I can close my eyes. Sometimes, baby, I don't even want to at all. It's been a happy kind of lonely, honey, waiting for your call. But you know that on the end of that phone, love never bring it on home. And I'm before you, baby, and I will meditate on it. Meditate on it. That's right. Meditate on it. And if I don't take some time out, I'm about to be a strung out cat. And that's that. But you know the bed that I've been looking up and down from my sin. I'm mighty with you, baby, and I'll have you meditate on it. Sounds like this, boys. Yeah, I just close my eyes. I just close my eyes. Joey! Sometimes, boys, you know that I up and feel glad. And I like that much better than when I'm feeling down and sad. But you know the bed that I've been looking up and down for my sin. I'm mighty with you, baby, and I'll have you meditate on it. Meditate on it. Meditate on it.
up, folks. The Rum Drum Ramblers there with Meditate on That. That's an original tune, Matt.
It is.
Wonderful. I read earlier today that you guys started in 2006.
We did.
How many years is that? I can't do math.
16, I think.
16 years.
Yeah.
That's applause. There's no lights going, but that's applause worthy, I think. Were you guys in high school when you started this? Or?
No, we were out of high school. I had just moved back from Atlanta.
Oh, okay, right.
And so it was like, came right back, and I had already known Joey and Ryan, and we had played in various punk rock bands together. And I came back with the idea to start a pre-war blues band.
Fantastic.
And, so we did just that.
I guess that sort of leads me into my next question then, because I guess when you were in high school playing music, it was probably punk music and rock and roll and how did you wind up playing these older styles? Or was it records? Did you hear somebody play it? Like when was your moment that you were like, this old acoustic music is neat?
I didn't have a long high school career. That's number one.
Yeah. That helps with with playing the blues, I guess.
So I mean, by the time I was 15, I was interested in blues. I was still listening to punk rock, but I discovered Muddy and all the Chicago scene, and I started hanging out with Henry Townsend, and I would visit him weekly or bi-weekly, and I did the same with several contemporary musicians like Alvin Youngblood Hart, Sean Costello, Nick Curran, and I would go visit them and hang out with them and borrow licks from them and learn songs from them. So, I mean, I was already way into it. But yeah, I mean, I think that the big moment was when I heard the 1947 sessions of Muddy at Chess. I mean, to me, that was like some of the heaviest stuff I'd ever heard.
That's amazing.
And so Muddy Waters was a big one, and of course Howlin' Wolf. And I started digging deeper into the pre-war guys and the stuff that my favorite post-war guys did pre-war. And I just went from there, and I decided this is way more punk than the stuff I'm doing.
Well, it's incredible to me that you had that. It was like we were talking about with Andy, this folk tradition where this music is passed down and seeking out these elders, and it gives you this human connection with the music. I would love for you to play another original tune. What you got in the tank for us here?
We got a Ryan tune.
A Ryan tune?
Oh, yeah.
Well, in that case. No, not really. That's wonderful. What's the title there, Ryan? What you got?
This one is My Baby May Be Crazy. I've been writing this for about 15 years.
Okay. Well, when you're ready.
It's almost done.
At various times, it's been a true story.
Good?
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4. Everybody say my little baby may be crazy, but I ain't gonna put her down. 'Cause everybody, baby, goes a little crazy in a crazy little town, yes. Everybody say my little baby may be crazy, but I ain't gonna put her down. 'Cause everybody, baby, goes a little crazy in a crazy little town. Now I saw her on a Tuesday after night, she never knew me, wonder how she do me quite like that. She said to see me on a Monday, it'll only take me one day if I find out how to turn time back. Well, everybody say my little baby may be crazy, but I ain't gonna put her down. 'Cause everybody, baby, goes a little crazy in a crazy little town. Everybody say my little baby may be crazy, but I ain't gonna put her down. 'Cause everybody, baby, goes a little crazy in a crazy little town. Now, everybody say my little baby may be crazy, but I ain't gonna put her down. 'Cause everybody, baby, goes a little crazy in a crazy little town.
Hey, the Rum Drum Ramblers there, folks, with Baby May Be Crazy. Well, you are listening to the Riverboat Shuffle on 88.1 KDHX, recorded in front of a live studio audience. How are you doing there, studio audience? There's 2,000 people here. Unfortunately, 1,800 aren't having a very good time. But this 200 are lovely. Ryan, that tune's crazy. How do you remember all those words?
I really don't.
See, in the music I play, there's like one chorus.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then you do 5 solos, and then everyone leaves, and then you get paid and go.
You write them down, you stare at them for a long time, and then you forget them anyway.
So, I've actually known about the Rum Drum Ramblers since before I even moved to St. Louis. I remember finding you in the depths of British YouTube, and I was gripped by the original songs, by the songwriting, and I think you all contribute to the arranging and the songwriting, but I just love it so much, and you guys come up with such original material, and I wanted to ask you just briefly about your process in songwriting. Do you draw inspiration from contemporary music as well, or is it from old records, or do you just try and put yourself in a space where you can just be uninfluenced to a degree? You know.
I listen to so many old records that is definitely heavily an influence. I don't really listen to any contemporary music at all, and then my idea was I wanted to play blues, but I didn't want to be playing Sweet Home Chicago all the time. You know, I wanted to bring something original and new to the table, so that at least our camp was coming up with something that was a creative expression in the medium that we prefer and speak. And so that was my idea. Is most everything we record is original. So my idea was that's really going to be the main calling card, is that we bring original songs to the table.
It's wonderful. I don't want to sound gushing, but you truly are one of my favorite songwriters.
Thank you.
Period. I think you just make such wonderful. I mean, do you guys not agree? What a wonderful songwriter. With that being said, and Ryan as well, your stuff's just crazy. I don't know.
That's great.
I don't know where that comes
I'm
from.
a little off.
We also try to make sure that it's 50-50, so that we're both bringing the same to the table, and that it's a blend of both my style and Ryan's style. So we always said that I was the Muddy Waters to the Conway Twitty kind of thing.
Right.
You know? And
I remember one time someone at a gig asked us what kind of music we play, and Matt says, "Well, country blues. I'm the blues. He's the country."
Yeah, that's great.
Exactly.
Well, you can truly hear it in this band that for 3 guys, it sounds like you've got an orchestra here. It's so much music. It's great. Well, I definitely have. You just got to play a couple more songs for us. And I think you got a string band piece in the book. So.
This is not the Down Home rag. We can't figure out what rag it is. No one has been able to identify it thus far, but we know it anyway.
Well, take it away, guys.
1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
Well, folks, you're listening to the Riverboat Shuffle on 88.1 KDHX, recorded in front of a live studio audience right here in St. Louis. And that was the Rum Drum Ramblers with Not the Down Home Rag. And, you know, so some of you might not know this, but I spent 3 years touring with Ryan and Joey here. And
a couple months living in my basement, too.
That's true, yeah. Recently, my wife kicked me out the house. Too many old records. And I do remember messing around with that tune in some green room and just literally learning it by ear. You played it wonderfully on that mandolin.
Thank you.
For those of you at home, you won't be able to see this unless you watch the wonderful video that's being made here. But Ryan has this fantastic national steel mandolin, and it's a fantastic sound. And I've always been, as a banjo player, I've always been jealous of your tremolo. I've spent years working on my tremolo, and well, as have you, but I just can't beat it. Well, I would really, I can't let you leave without playing this one tune that I always love to hear you play, and that's the Cairo Blues. Cairo.
Yeah.
Sorry, Cairo.
Either which way.
Either which
Cairo.
way.
Yeah.
And I don't know, what can you tell us about this tune before you play it, Matt?
I learned it from Henry Townsend. It was kind of one of the things that I was trying to master while I was spending time with him. And I never got it right. But he learned it from Henry Spalding, and it's a Henry Spalding tune. And I think Spalding only had a couple sides.
Right, that's right. Was it Biddle Street, the other one?
I believe so, yeah.
I love those records. Well, I've never heard anyone play it the way you do. And it's so amazing that we're about to listen to a born and bred St. Louis blues musician who learned this tune. It was literally passed down to you. So
It was 1 degree from Henry, and I brought it to Henry, and I said, "What do you think?" And he said, "It's not like I do it, but I don't do it like Spalding did it."
Yeah.
So he goes, I really urge you to continue playing it and do your own thing with it. And since I've done my best, because he showed me a lot of the stuff that I wasn't capable of mastering at the time. I was 16 years old. So I've tried to, for ages, I've tried to get closer and closer to it, but it was passed to me from Henry.
Well, I'm very excited for the audience here to hear it. So take it away, Matt.
All right.
And you have a fine musicians too.
And the rest of us.
The Cairo Blues. 1, 2, 3. Cairo is my baby's home. Cairo is my baby's home. Cairo is my baby's home. I'm going back to Cairo, and it won't be long. The women in Cairo, Lord, they will treat you kind and sweet. Lord, they will treat you kind and sweet. The women in Cairo, Lord, they will treat you kind and sweet. Get you that I can take you out of your feet. They shoot you, knock you, hit you and cut you too. Hit you and cut you too. They shoot you, knock you, hit you and cut you too. Take you to the graveyard by the time they're through. Take me back to Cairo, baby. home. Hey, that is my home. Hey, babe. Hey, babe, that is my home. Lord, I'm going back to Cairo. Lord, it won't be long. Cairo, Cairo is my baby's home. Cairo is my baby's home. Cairo, Cairo is my baby's home. Yes, Lord, I'm going back to Cairo, and it won't be long. Yes, Lord, I'm going back to Cairo. Lord, it won't be long. The Cairo Blues. Thank you so much. Fantastic. Thank you.
Well, hello there, folks. You are listening to the Riverboat Shuffle on 88.1 KDHX, recorded in front of a live studio audience right here in St. Louis, Missouri. I am your host, TJ Muller. We were just listening to St. Louis's own the Rum Drum Ramblers. How about the Rum Drum Ramblers? Wonderful stuff. Coming up later in the show, we'll be listening to really one of my favorite contemporary blues duos, acoustic blues bands, the St. Louis Steady Grinders. But right now on the stage, we are very lucky to have the great Scott Alberici on clarinet. And Scott's going to play a bunch of songs with the house band here. And I believe the first tune is going to be Memories of You. So I'll leave the stage here and leave you to it, Scott. Scott Alberici there with the Riverboat Shuffle House Band. Well, as the band tunes up, I want to let you know that you are listening to the Riverboat Shuffle live on 88.1 KDHX and recorded in front of a live studio audience right here in St. Louis, Missouri. How are you doing, studio audience? Scott, that was beautiful. Can I pull you towards a microphone here?
Sure.
Or either one.
Oh, yeah.
He chose the one further away from me, you'll notice. Scott, that was absolutely lovely.
I don't know if I go that far, but yeah.
Well, now Memories of You has some significance to you.
Well, it was the first tune I ever heard on clarinet, and then I learned to play the clarinet playing with the record of Benny Goodman playing that tune. So, yeah.
And you hadn't played clarinet prior to that, then?
No, I just happened. Well, I was digging through some records that my dad had, and there was a 45 Benny Goodman, and I don't think I even knew who Benny Goodman was. And I just for some reason I liked the sound of, but it had like a feel to it that I liked. I didn't know how to explain it, and I knew it was a clarinet. So then I went to a pawn shop and I bought a clarinet and learned how to put it together from the picture on the cover.
That's incredible.
And then just started trying to figure out how to play it and make that sound.
And so you were doing this by ear, then? You didn't have formal
Right.
training at this
Right.
point. And how soon after that did you start to get gigs and work?
Well, it was fast because it was like kind of an accident. I mean, I was doing that for fun, and then somebody mentioned like there was a jam session somewhere in town or something. You should go play, and so I went and played, and then somebody hired me, and then next thing you know, it's 40 years later, and I'm playing the clarinet.
That's how it goes. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you are. I'm hoping you'll give us another tune here. How about a Moon Glow?
Moon Glow. That'd be great.
That'd be wonderful. Well,
Yeah.
take it away whenever you're ready, folks. Well, folks, that was Scott Alberici with the Riverboat Shuffle House Band there, playing Moonglow. Scott, that was, again, that was lovely, and these guys are no slouches either. Yeah. Well, I really would love at least 2 more songs here, so I would love for you to play for us I Got Rhythm.
Okay, we'll do that.
That was wonderful, thank you.
Yeah. Let's do like kind of nice one.
Scott Alberici, folks, with the Riverboat Shuffle House Band, playing for you there. I've Got Rhythm. You are listening to the Riverboat Shuffle live on 88.1 KDHX, recorded in front of a live studio audience. We've got Scott Alberici here on the stage. Fantastic, Scott. Hey, how long have you been playing music here in St. Louis, if you don't mind me asking?
Probably 40 years, something like that. Yeah.
Who here's seen Scott perform
Maybe
before?
longer than that.
Who here's going to make an effort to see him next time? How about that? Yeah. Well, I guess I must have met you about five or six years ago, and I'm so happy to get the chance to work with you. I know that you've worked with some incredible musicians along the way. Art Hodis is a guy that you worked with, and Wild Bill Davidson, one of my favorites. And with that in mind, actually, I wouldn't mind grabbing my cornet and playing a.
Oh man, that would be great.
Let's do "I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles." Great. How about that? Key of B flat, folks. Here we go. Right on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Well, hello there, folks. You are listening to the Riverboat Shuffle on 88.1 KDHX, recorded in front of a live studio audience right here in St. Louis, Missouri. I am your host, TJ Muller. Earlier on the show, we were listening to the incredible clarinet playing of Scott Alberici. How about a round of applause for Scott? But right now, I'm delighted to introduce my my good friends and the absolutely fantastic St. Louis Steady Grinders. Valerie, what have you got for us?
I believe this first tune we're doing is a Alice Moore number that she did in the 30s, a little tune called SOS Blues.
Fantastic. Take it away.
SOS means there's help needed. help needed, needed on the sea. And I'm the one that's calling, so please send some help to me. And my man, he don't want my love, and he refused my money too. And my man, he don't want my love, and he refused my money too. And I've got money to pay you if you tell me what to do. But I can't use hoodoo. Don't know no tricks, that's all. And I can't use hoodoo. Don't know no tricks, that's all. And I would do anything now to get that mule back in my stall. Well, to lose my love is putting me in distress. Now to lose my love is putting me in distress. And I'm not ashamed to tell you I'm sending out that SOS.
The St. Louis Steady Grinders there with the SOS Blues, written by Alice Moore, and I think originally Petey Wheatstraw
Peter
on,
Wheatstraw.
on the piano. Well, for those of you who don't already know, the St. Louis Steady Grinders is comprised of Miss Jubilee or Valerie Kirchhoff there on the vocals. You can clap for that. You can clap for that. And Ethan Linewand on the piano. The two of you really capture a unique sound in blues music. And often when people think about the blues, that acoustic piano vocal sound isn't what they often imagine, but it's a sound that you've been familiar with a lot of your life. I mean, I know that you've listened to these records since you were
Very
a kid,
young.
right?
Yeah, well, the first time when I was younger, I would go to the library to find music, and a lot of the stuff that, it was mostly actually on cassette tapes or else vinyl. And
MP3s,
so-
surely.
Yeah, and it started to have CDs in there, but a lot of the stuff, I just was really drawn to the covers on the LPs. So one of
Yeah.
the first things I picked up was a Bessie Smith one, and it was when
Fantastic.
they had just put out the 5-volume of
I
all
love
the
that.
Bessie
I love
Smith
that compilation.
material. It's
Yeah.
a great it's great. It's got everything she ever did. A lot of tunes that just don't make those compilation CDs. You know,
Yeah.
just unusual lyrics, and that got me really intrigued about the storytelling of the females singing that stuff.
Amazing.
And eventually, you'll hear us do a Victoria Spivey one, and that's what led me to the St. Louis music.
I think that's the next number, isn't it? You got the
is.
tell us what the title is of that tune.
Well, the tune we're going to do is The Alligator Pond One Dry.
Okay. Fantastic.
Someone told me they think that it's during the Prohibition era, and they think it has maybe a
Oh, that
meaning
makes sense.
of
Yeah.
pond going dry. States would go dry.
And Victoria Spivey, of course, is a although she's not native to St. Louis, this is where she began her career.
That's right, and that's actually what led me to learn more of that St. Louis music. It's pretty well known that she came to St. Louis to record.
Fantastic. Well, I can't wait to hear it.
Thank you. Let's do it. Folks, I'll tell you something that I heard one day as I passed that pond one day. The whole alligators were doing the Georgia grind, and I heard one of them say it was a social, but the alligator pond went dry. Yeah, it must have been a social, but the alligator pond went dry. Well, old Mr. Alligator, he got way back. He said, look out, children, I'm going to throw it off my back. Yeah, it wasn't social, but the alligator pond went dry. Now, it must have been a social for the alligator pond to go dry. Yeah, it must have been a social for the alligator pond to go dry. Well, old Mr. Alligator, he got real hot. He said, we're going to have this function whether there's water or not. Yeah, it was a social, but the alligator pond went dry. Well, if you don't believe what I'm saying, old ask Alligator Jack. Wasn't a drop of water in the pond when he got back. Yeah, it wasn't social, but the alligator pond went dry.
Well, folks, you were listening to the Riverboat Shuffle on 88.1 KDHX, recorded in front of a live studio audience right here in St. Louis, Missouri. And we're listening to the St. Louis Steady Grinders. How about them, folks? All right. Yeah. The Alligator Social there by Victoria Spive. That's so much fun. It reminds me of a bit of the Animule Ball that Jello and Morton does. It's kind of similar. You know, it's
Definitely
fun.
it does.
It seems like St. Louis had a wealth of amazing female blues singers in the 1920s and 30s. And Victoria Spive is just one, but
Yeah.
Alice Moore was St. Louis as well?
Alice
Or
Moore.
East St. Louis? for a time?
St. Louis, I believe she came from Tennessee,
Right.
I want to say.
Yeah.
But St. Louis, really got well known while she was here. Let's see, Mary Johnson. Oh, man, there's so many. You're putting me on the spot, but there's
no,
a whole lot of
yeah,
them.
yeah.
One of my favorites is St. Louis Bessie. I like her a
Right,
lot.
of course, yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure you can think of some too, Ethan.
Oh yeah, there's all the ones that recorded with the Sparks Brothers. It was
Sure.
just seemed like everyone could just sing a blues back in the day.
It's almost been a theme of all the artists that we've had up here. That there's this connection to regional music and this idea that where you play the music you do really matters. There's a reason that we're not playing strictly New Orleans style music as much as we love it here in St. Louis, because it seems meaningful to
It does.
sing these songs here. And you must feel almost a responsibility to keep doing this and keep playing these tunes.
Yeah, I mean, I do like things that are just, I like tradition. I like, everyone singing a song that everyone knows, making up a harmony part. Like, I like that a lot.
And listen,
I grew up.
I hate the Happy Birthday song, though.
Oh, no, that's the worst. But, I grew up in a family. We went to church every day, or every Sunday, and my mom's dad was a preacher. I always actually looked forward to going there because he was a farmer as well. And this church services there, everyone would just like bust out singing so loud that as a kid you could try anything. You're like, oh, I'm gonna hit this high note. No, you're not. But you could try stuff, and I really liked that. I liked that everyone knew the same tunes and were so comfortable with them. So when I heard this stuff from St. Louis, it instantly made me feel like they were, my friends, and I wanted to be able to, get to know them and understand those lyrics. So
that's so interesting that you say that because when I hear you sing the blues, it's not in the. I don't hear you do what I hear a lot of contemporary blues singers do. It has this almost like church singing quality, but then you're picking these inflections at the perfect moment. It's much more just about this gusto.
I think the best thing you can do when you love old music is listen to all of it. So I love, I've always loved listening to as much of it as I can. I really like a lot of it, and figure out what parts are yours.
That's fantastic. Well, I'm having a great time listening to you guys today, and
great, thank you.
I would love to hear another tune. What you got for us?
Yeah,
what you got?
We're gonna do it by myself.
Wonderful.
Yeah, we're gonna do a little blues that
But together.
shows the fun side of blues.
Well, take it away.
Met a girl at the dance last night. I asked her for a dance and she wanted to fight.
Dance by myself. Dance by myself. Dance by myself. Nobody but me alone.
Well, the neighbors are asleep and your friends are gone. Come on, baby, let's tag along.
Going by myself. Going by myself. Going by myself. Nobody but me alone. Listen here, man, I'll get you told. Ain't nothing doing what you're thinking about. Going by myself. Going by myself. Going by myself. Nobody but me alone.
Do-de-do,
Do-da-de-do.
do-de-do,
Beep, beep, beep,
do-de-do. Well, don't you need loving when the sun comes down?
Gone by myself. Gone by myself. Gone by myself. Nobody but me alone.
And don't you need loving when the weather's cold?
Listen here, man, while I get you told, I do it by myself. I do it by myself. Do it by myself. Nobody but me alone.
Well, I need loving when the sun goes down. Woman, I got's out running around town.
Do it by yourself.
I'm gonna do it.
Do it by yourself.
Show me how to do it.
Do it by yourself. Nobody but you alone. Cats in the alley, dogs on the street. Going to the market and buy me some meat. Going by myself. Going by myself. Going by myself. Nobody but me alone.
Do-de-do,
Do-do-de-do.
do-de-do,
Yo-do-de-do.
do-de-do.
Boop-boop-de-do.
Do it by myself, nobody but me alone.
Well, folks, that's the St. Louis Steady Grinders with Do It By Myself, but together.
Together.
That music just sounds like a good time. Yeah. It's fun. Yeah. Even I've never heard you scat before.
Do-de-do.
Move aside, Louis Armstrong.
I can do it if I'm beside Valerie. That's about it.
Well, you guys sound so wonderful. Everyone in St. Louis should know that to come and see you, and I'll be sure to mention whenever I can where you're playing around town on the show. But for now, I'd love to join you on a tune. I've spoiled everyone else's sets, so you kind of feel obliged to let me play.
We want to have you play along. It's perfect for a lot of this music. They had trombone with Ike Rogers.
That's right. I adore the trombone playing of Ike Rogers and Henry Brown. All that stuff, wonderful.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Well, we can nerd out about that after the show.
Coming to St. Louis, that was like the great joy, is that I could finally talk to people about Ike Rogers. I was in New York and I wanted, it's like, you heard of Ike Rogers? And no. You got to.
Well, we're glad.
They were like, you heard of Frank Trombar? I was like, no.
Well, you're in the right place, Ethan. Well, what tune are we going to play here, Val?
We're going to do a little tune, Muddy Creek Blues. So this is actually Mary Johnson singing.
I love it.
I'd rather be in the muddy creek, floating like a log. I'd rather be in the muddy creek, floating like a log, than to be in St. Louis, treated like a poor watchdog. I went to the muddy creek this morning with my razor swinging in my hand. I went to the muddy creek this morning with my razor swinging in my hand. I said, Mr. Temple, have you seen anything of my man? The tadpole vowed to me before I raised my hand. The tadpole vowed to me before I raised my hand. He said, dear lady, I'm not keeping up with your man. I said I'm mean and evil. You sure don't know my mind. I said I'm mean and evil. You sure don't know my mind. I'll cut your throat, Mr. Tadpole, and drink your blood like cherry wine.
Well, Hello there, folks. You are listening to the Riverboat Shuffle on 88.1 KDHX, recorded in front of a live studio audience right here in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm your host, TJ Muller. On the stage right now, we have the St. Louis Steady Grinders, and I believe that Matt Wilson is going to be joining them for their next number. Otherwise, Matt's just wandered onto the stage willy-nilly. What have you guys got planned for us?
We're going to do, the original version of Every Day I Have the Blues, which is the St. Louis tune originally. You know, it's gone on to be a popular, blues in the canon, but really started off as St. Louis tune with Sparks Brothers. Aaron Pinetop Sparks was singing and playing piano, and the great Henry Townsend was on guitar on this track. You know, another in a long line of legendary tracks he was on. You know, this is one of them. So we brought it in, Matt, who learned from Henry, to do the Henry Townsend part, and we're super thrilled.
This is exciting.
It's awesome.
Okay, guys, I'll leave you to it.
Every day I have the blues. Every day I have the blues. I don't care what I do, Conrad, if I ever lose you. Sometimes I just don't know. Sometimes I just don't know. My baby wants to quit me, but I love him more and more. He treats me mean, but I can't forget the good things he has done. He treats me mean, but I can't forget the good things he has done. Said he was my companion when I did not have anyone. Oh, Whiskey's got me hungry. Whiskey's got me mooching a dime. Whiskey's got me hungry. Whiskey's got me mooching a dime. It has me when the summer clothes in the winter time. Sorry, sorry, sorry to my heart. Sorry, sorry, sorry to my heart. Sorry, but even the good book says that the best of friends must part.
Well, folks, you were listening to the Riverboat Shuffle on 88.1 KDHX, recorded in front of a live studio audience right here in St. Louis. And on the stage, we just had the St. Louis Steady Grinders with Matt Wilson. Give them a round of applause, folks. How about that? What a unique sound. There's something so, especially for record lovers and lovers of this old music, that sound of the vocals, the guitar, and the piano, all acoustic, playing that type of blues is so special and kind of hard to find these days. Ethan, I mean, you came to St. Louis to play this type of music, but you were already playing this type of acoustic piano blues.
Yeah,
before.
like it's pretty early on in my like learning to play blues piano and getting to boogie woogie and all those things. I found a record called the Piano Blues of St. Louis.
Oh, really?
Down on the Levee, and I had it set on my desk probably for 3 or 4 months, and then when I opened it up, I was like, oh, that's it, that's the sound. And just like really loved that low down sound. I was looking for anything that wasn't stride. That wasn't ragtime, wasn't stride, because I wanted to do something that I wasn't hearing, but also that's what it spoke to me right away. So I was playing all that stuff instrumental, just being like, to anyone who would listen, I'd be like, this is St. Louis right here, and they didn't care.
And it's fascinating because you hear lots of wonderful stride pianists and lots of wonderful boogie woogie pianists, but there's so few people playing this type of barrel house piano the way you do, and you seem to have become something of a international authority on the matter.
Well, it's like anyone if they could do it if they wanted to. I don't think they want to do. There's plenty of pianists I think could do it, but it's like you I have my YouTube channel and I speak as loudly as I can about it. Any chance I get, and if I'm at a boogie festival or rag festival, I try to own that I'm a little different, and it kind of puts the other pianists at ease. They can like me and I can like them and that whole thing. But no, it's nice to be able to play and talk about this music.
Well, Ethan plays solo every Tuesday night at Yaki's on Cherokee Street at 7 p.m. and is well worth checking out. Hello, we've got a whole bunch more faces on stage here. What's about to happen, Valerie?
Well, we're going to do a tune that we do as a full band, and this is a little number that's also a St. Louis tune. It was done by Muller, and so it had mandolin on it, and of course we have to have Ryan for that. This is a tune that he did called "Don't Be a Fool."
He's going to make me jealous with that tremolo again.
That's right.
and we've also got
blues. The tremolo on that Cairo blues was so good.
Yeah. Well, we've also got Dale back there on drums and Joey on the upright bass. And I'm going to let you guys take it away.
Thanks.
You'll have a solo.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I laid down, thought my wife was asleep. I got up to make a 4-day creep. She said there'll be no fool. There'll be no fool. Well, every time I shut my eyes, I ain't asleep. There'll be no fool. Old man Drake slipped upon this duck. The duck got up, he said, you're out of luck. There'll be no fool. Now there'll be no fool. So every time I shut my eyes, I ain't asleep. There'll be no fool. Grandpa caught Grandma laying in the bed. Now Grandma said to Grandpa, get away from my head. There'll be no fool. There'll be no fool. So every time I shut my eyes, I ain't asleep. There'll be no fool. Well, I kept a gal up at 3:30. I thought she was sweet, but she said to me, there'll be no fool. There'll be no fool. So every time I shut my eyes,
The St. Louis Steady Grinders there with Ryan Koenig on the mandolin, Dale Robles on the drum sets, and Joey Glynn on the upright bass. Well, thank you to the St. Louis Steady Grinders. It was a pleasure having you on the Riverboat Shuffle today. We are quickly approaching the end of today's broadcast, but I want to tell for those people listening in on the radio that do not go anywhere. Keep your dials at 88.1 because next up is Dre with The Other One. Dre brings you lots of old favorites, forgotten gems, and a healthy dose of The Grateful Dead. So do stick around for Dre coming up at noon. And I can't think of any better way to end the show than where we started with our fabulous house band. And Marty, I would love for you to play for us another Missouri piece. And I just love the way you play this number, the Cater Street Rag. So, folks, the Riverboat Shuffle House Band with the Cater Street Rag. Well, folks, how about a big hand for the Riverboat Shuffle House Band with the Cater Street Rag. Marty Eggers has been leading the band tonight. Well, sadly, that's all we got time for today on the Riverboat Shuffle Live. But it's been an absolute pleasure to bring this show to you. And please give a big hand one more time for all of our wonderful guests today. For now, I've been your host, TJ Muller, and I'll see you next Tuesday, 10 to noon on 88.1 KDHX St. Louis. See you next time, folks.